Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a build for my new streaming/gaming PC. We've got the Zen 2 architecture AMD socket, the AM4. So this is the 3900X by AMD. It is a 12 core, 32 thread CPU. I think it clocks up to 4.9. I think, where does it say? I'll be on the other side. But anyway, yeah, so that's the CPU we're going with. So we got the MSI graphics card, we got the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, Gaming Trio X, Gaming X Trio I should say. So it is 11 gigabyte card. So it's quite nice. We'll go have a look at the back of the box here.
Put the specs of the card up here on the screen. You can just pause them and take your time to look over them if you like.
We've got the Rogue Thor 850 watt Platinum by ASUS. It's a very nice PSU. It's got a readout display on the side which will show us our wattage that we're using. So if the PC is running and it's only running at 600 watts, it will give us a digital readout on the side of it. Very nice power supply. PSU.
Do it again.
PSU.
Do it again.
PSU.
Do it again.
ASUS ROG Strix X570E gaming motherboard. So it's a very nice motherboard. It supports wireless, it's got Bluetooth, can take up to 128 gigabytes of RAM. It's got the Gen 4 technology for your M.2 drives, which we've got an M.2 to go in it as well. It also has a external antenna that comes with it. It's not pictured on the back here, but there's an external antenna that we can hook onto it for our wireless internet if we wish to use it wireless. So we've got some G.Skill Trident Z Royale, 32 gigs of RAM, it's 3600 gigahertz in there. So we're going to run that GPU at max capacity with that. We got the MP600 NVME PCIe Gen 4 M.2 SSD by Corsair. It's a 1 terabyte drive. I've also got a 1 terabyte Evo Samsung Evo 860 to go in this as well, which is currently in another PC, and we'll install that as well. So we got the Seagate Barracuda 3 terabyte hard drive just for a bit of extra storage. And then it's all going to be cooled by the Thermaltake Water 3.0 360 ARGB sync radiator with pump on the front. So plenty of bling in this build, but yeah, it should keep our CPU nice and cool.
What else do you want to do? That or the case maybe?
We'll do the case, yep. So we got the View 71 TG ARGB by Thermaltake case. Very nice case. It supports up to 360mm radiators for your cooling. You can install your radiators either to the front, to the top, on the back wall here, or you can even put a 140 on the back where that back fan is. So there's plenty of water cooling support on this case. I'll leave a link to all the products that I've explained in the description down below for you all to check out. Alright, so first of all, we've got our case out. We've taken off all our tempered glass side panels with the sides and the tops and the front. We're just going to prep the case ready to go for them to put the motherboard in. So we're going to pull out the hard drive tower. We're going to pull out it's already pulled out actually, the vertical stand for the GPU, which will be vertically installed on that GPU when we get going. We're going to pull out the power supply shroud as well, because I brought that Rogue Thor 850 power board from ASUS. It's got a bit of lighting and a few other little features on it. I spent a bit of extra on it because the original View 71 case I was looking at didn't have this cover in it. If I realised it come with that, I probably would have just went with a bit of a different power supply, but we'll pull this out to suit, so that way that power supply can be sitting there, we can see it in all its glory. So we'll pull off that, we can just stay on that time being. there might be another one holding it on. We'll have a look in a sec. Let's stand this back up for a sec. We'll take off this top cover. So it's got to give it a bit of a shake. Pull it up. They have the a magnetic dust filter in them as well. So you can pull these out and give them a wash later on. There's one in the top, there's one in the very front here, and there's one underneath as well on the very bottom. So you can pull them out and clean them later on. Inside of this dock, we've also got a little box. Comes with a few extras for the case. So you got a mountain of extra standoffs, a few extra standoffs, a couple of extra screws, and a couple of plugs for your power supplies and stuff like for your fans and stuff like that as well. Some screws for them. Cables, I'm not sure what they are as of yet, but I think they're to do with the RGB controller on the back of this case. Something to do with this here somewhere, or something to do with this I'd say. Or just some spare cables for that. And a couple of little zip ties. Righto, so now we'll get the motherboard out of the box here. And we'll start installing our CPU, our RAM, and our solid state drives. So in the box, this is the motherboard. It's got some little box in here. Not sure what's inside of that. Oh, that's the antenna for the Wi-Fi, wireless antenna, back inside of there. It's the board. Inside the box comes with instruction manual, which we'll need for to find out in our which one's our slave drive and which one's our main drive for our SSD. So our primary drive and our slave drive, so we're putting that SSD in the right one, and we'll also need to work out which slots to put our RAM in. I think we put it in B2 and A2, I think, if I remember correctly. But we'll double check that as well as we go. It comes with a few little things. Cable mod. I'm actually ordering some cables for this case, which aren't here in time for this build, and I'll put them in a bit later on. I'm getting some cables. I'll put a picture up on the screen of what I'm ordering. So I'm going with a layout of silver, black and purple. The purple theme. Also, if you've got a name for this computer, leave some comments down below with some ideas for names. I was thinking of Beast or something like that. So, also some pretty stickers to make your computer go faster if you want to stick them on. A bit of the information, so we don't need any of that. We'll put that back in the box. This stuff back in the box. We'll get our motherboard out. The thing I like about this motherboard also, it comes with this built-in I/O shield on the back. So there's no more mucking around putting an I/O shield in the back of the case. It's all pre-installed already on this board. So remember, before you ever touch anything like motherboards, graphics cards, RAM, anything like that, make sure you ground yourself. I'm not wearing a strap, but make sure you touch something a bit metal, like I'm touching my case here now to ground myself. Make sure there's no stake electricity. So last thing you want to be doing is reaching in, grab your board and giving it a shock. So we're going to sit on top of our static bag here. So that's the board. So what we'll do is we'll put our CPU in first. This little bugger. So got to be very careful with these because it's got very little tiny pins on the back. I'll pull that out in a second, I'll show you. Let's just open up this lever here. Open that up, ready to go. Always have a look to see for the direction that your CPU is going to go on in the socket. So I'm not seeing an indicator on here, but I'm sure there's probably an indicator on the CPU itself. So I thought they had a little triangle. Maybe that's what this is here actually. A little triangle there maybe. So we'll pull our CPU out. Be very careful with this. It's got very tiny little pins. I don't know if you can see them there. But the last thing you want to be doing is bending one of them and costing you a very expensive CPU. So there's a little arrow on the bottom side there. So the arrows on top here, as Heidi just pointed out to me, the little cutouts on the back here, they're on their angle. This one's sort of out like a square, and you can see that on the socket itself on the board, how it represents there. So sitting down that way. Very gently. There he goes. He's sat straight down in there nicely then. And we should be able to just pull this straight back down and clip him in. And that CPU shouldn't be going anywhere. Righto, so try not to be touching it. You don't want to be putting oils or anything all over it. What I'm going to do is before I install my water cooler on there, I've got some rubbing alcohol. We'll give it another little quick clean. So make sure we've got no contaminants. And we'll put that away. Let's get our G.Skill RAM out. So this is our G.Skill Trident Z Royal RAM. It's very nice, 32 gigs at 3600 megahertz. So I've only got 2 sticks of this at the moment for 32 gig. That way I can upgrade later on with a further 2 sticks of 16 to give us 64 gig in the board in total. So very flashy RAM. Pretty. I'm trying to put my fingerprints all over it. Look at that. You can see the light reflecting off it. Sticker's not really on that well. Yeah, so it comes with a little cloth so you can wipe them. This is the Trident Z Royal RAM. It's 3600 megahertz, 32 gig. So I'm going to put two lots in here now, 2 sticks in here of 16. Later on I can upgrade with a further 32 gig to give me a total of 64. So what you want to do is I double checked in the book. Make sure these are open. We'll just do that quickly now. Make sure these lugs are back. Why isn't that other side going back? Okay, these are a bit different to what I'm used to. It's just one side on these ones, righto. So we want to be putting it in, see here, so we got B1 is the first column, B2, A1, A2. So the ones with the star are your main drive. So if you only had one single stick of DDR4, you'd put your one and only into B2 with the star, and it'd be a single stick. If you're going to go dual sticks, you want to go one in B2 and one in A2, so it'd be this one here and this one. If you're going 4, it doesn't matter what order you put them in, as long as it's in all 4. So we're going to get our first stick here. Make sure it's facing the right way, so like that's not going to work. Going to come around the other way so this little slot lines up. It sits down inside of there like that. And then what we're going to do is push until you hear it click. There you go. It's locked in. Same again. So they're both clicked in. We'll just close these other ones. But yeah, they're in there nicely. Very nice RAM that. Righto, the next thing we're going to do is get our screwdriver. And we're going to take off this cover here. It's got your heatsink shields on your M.2 drive. So if you have a M.2 drive that doesn't have a heatsink on it, what you can do is take this shield right off and then place this heat shield straight back over top of it to distribute your heat. This particular SSD that we're using from Corsair, it already has this heatsink shield on it. So I'm hoping, I didn't really look into this, I'm hoping I can leave that heatsink shield off of there. Otherwise, it's not going to really line up real well, and we may have to mod the case if that's the board if that's the case. screw there. Bring that light around a little bit. Making heaps of shadows here. The ceiling light's above me. So we should be able to just lift that out. A little bit more on that other side. So as you can see on the bottom of this, it's got a heat sink in it. So if I was to use this, all I do is peel off that little protector layer on there and stick that straight down on top of the SSD drive, and that will allow you to use this as a heatsink that's fully metal. So, but our drive itself, because then we can put another one of them drives down the bottom here. That's for your slave. So your primary drive goes up the top here, and your slave goes down in the secondary one down there. Pull out our solid state drive here. It's just that little sucker there. So what you're doing with this is, so you've got your main pins on this side here. You're going to want to be inserting that in here. You can see you've got a little slot, then a gap, and then the rest of the slots. So you want to line that up with the SSD. On the other side is a spot for a screw to go in, which I'll grab a screw out of the little bag if there's not one already in this box. No, it doesn't look like it come with one. So that just sits on top there like that and just sits down. It sits there like so. So what I'm going to have to do is just give me a quick look in there. So sit on that stopper. Right, I'll have a look to see what screws. What we end up doing was that screw there, we end up pinching that screw out of this heatsink. As you can see, there's another one here, fairly long one. So what we ran into the issue was this little standoff. We didn't want to force it to get it off. There's a screw on the back that we could undo, but we didn't want to force it off to move it over. I don't have any standoffs high enough, but we've just got it in there. They got that screw that's grabbed onto it. It is a little bit wiggly in there, but I think once it's in the computer, we shouldn't have too many dramas. It's not going to be moving around that much, so yeah, it should be all right. So we've got our heatsink, SSD drive installed. So we're going to put our cover back on over here now. So it goes. How was this again? So it goes on an angle like that.
Mm-hmm. Ah. Oh. Interesting.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. I didn't think about that when I brought this.
Only other thing you can do is that plastic.
Ooh, where'd that little screw just go? I don't really care if I lose it, I just don't want to lose it on there.
Look. Yeah.
There it is. That's plastic, isn't it?
Yeah. I was thinking of like cutting it.
Yeah.
And just cut like
Across there, yep.
this.
So.
Are you willing to cut it?
Yeah, I am. Yep. This is all about modding, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to cut this little piece off here. As you saw, it was fouling up on the SSD. So we're going to modify the little cover just slightly. We're going to cut it off there. Hopefully then it should sit nicely over top of that SSD then. hopefully that should sit nicely in there now. Just like a store-bought one. Barely even tell. So we've just chopped that little piece off of there. So now, hopefully, when we put it in here, shouldn't fail on it. There we go, look at that. Beautiful. Perfect. Get little screws. So just be mindful if you are using anything electric, this is pretty weak. You don't really want to be using any electric drills and stuff like that. I'm only just doing this up, I'm not even going to its firm, and this is pretty weak as I say anyway. It'll pretty well pull me up before it even gets to that point. But make sure you just nip things up by hand because you don't want to be over tightening things and stripping out the plastic. Just use this. So now that's only just touching, so so that's the SSD installed. We've got our RAM, our SSD, our CPU's in. What else do we need? We need to set up the cooler, the water cooler. Fans for our water cooler. So what I'm going to do is install our bracket for our water cooler. I'm not going to put the water cooler on yet until the board's in the case, but we'll get the bracket on here ready to go. More cables, and fans as the water cooler itself.
So I've just cut the audio out of this bit here. As you can see, the copper plating on the pump itself has already come pre-coated with our thermal paste. So we won't need to apply this new stuff that I brought. Also, we mucked around here for a little while just trying to find the correct brackets to mount the AIO to the motherboard. Turns out we just need to use the stock standard setup that was on the X570 board already. So we just mucked around here for a little bit trying to work out exactly what the go was, but we eventually worked it out.
Worked out was we don't have to worry about putting any of these brackets on. That's for the Intel sockets. I thought I'd ordered the wrong one for a moment, but what actually happens is this just clips straight onto the initial stock CPU cooler bracket already on this board, so that just goes on there like that, and then in here you can see it is another little latch. That one there just clips on underneath that other hook and then screws down on top. So easy peasy. We'll do that once we get all this into the case. So what we want to be doing is when we lower this down in here, we're going to check our standoffs to make sure everyone lines up with our position on our board, and also to make sure there's no extra ones down here because we don't want anything grounding out and shorting out on the back of our board because that would be really bad. So what have we got in here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 standoffs. What's this board got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So already there is one extra, which is right there. Actually, so we can pull that off, okay. So what we need to do, cut that for a sec. So what we actually need to do is take this cover back off that we just put back on. There's actually a standoff underneath there that will go onto this board. So 2 screws out, so it's not a big deal. Just 2 little screws. Take that off. So now, so they look like they're going to be right. That looks pretty right, and they look like they're going to be pretty well right too. So just double check to make sure there is still nothing in here. See, this is little what do you call it, pop rivet from where they've put the controller on the back that sticks up there. See, things like that, you make sure that they're not going to touch on the back of your board because these little solder points do hang down a bit. I know it's a little bit low compared to that standoff, but we want to make sure we do have the clearance because that will be really bad. That's a pretty poor design idea actually on Thermaltake's part, just the head of that screw. I think it does just clear by the feels of it. I will stick my head in there properly in a second and have a proper look. So what we want to be doing is pushing our IO shield straight through the back. It's the first time I've done it without a proper IO shield on it. Oh, we've got a fan controller in the way here. Hang on, I'm just going to pull this out. We've got this little wire just here on this fan that's fouling what we're trying to do. So pull a bit of this extra cable through, pull that through, pull that up, so we can get it out of the way. Righto. Just like that. Nice. That's a lot easier than my IO shields. So all our standoffs seem to line up perfectly, which is good. We'll grab our little bag of screws. Where did I put them? Actually, one of them. The case does come with a few little plastic mounts too, so if them things were going to foul, you probably could get something like that and stick over it, or if you've got a bit of double-sided tape or something, maybe stick under there if you're a bit worried about it, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. So we've got the right screws now. Grab the wrong ones out of the bag. So we only just want to just put them in lightly. We don't need to do it up too tight just yet. Get all the screws down and in. Adjust the board to where it needs to be sitting. Make sure that IO shield's right through. And I'll speed this little part of the video up so you don't have to sit through this.
Can you speed it on real life or just?
Wish we could. Righto. So that's installed, so now we'll get our power supply. We'll put our power supply in, then we can put our side bracket in to mount our GPU. Once we put our power supply in, we can run our cables around the back for our other external hard drives. I've got an SSD in my other PC I have to pull out yet. I probably won't put that until a little bit later, until this is up and running, because if I pull that other one out, the other computer won't go. Alright, so we've got the Rogue Thor 850 watt power supply, platinum, by ASUS. Fancy little box that it comes in. So, in one of these, I'm guessing this one, is the power supply, feeling by the weight. There she is in all her glory. Nice. So, satisfying sound. So See, this is what I say, because that shroud that we had would hide all that. I think it looks better without it. What do you reckon? Better without. So we'll sit that in there. I'll stand this up. Grab some screws and we'll do that up. I'll just see what else is in here. So this is the other box. Come with it. Wife's gonna kill me when she gets home. There's that much crap everywhere. So what do we got? Little bag. It's in here. Okay, so we've got some cable combs. We'll use that for a bit of our cable management here shortly. Oh nice, some little Velcro strips that will help us with our cable management, and some more zip ties. Here's what I was looking for, screws for the power supply. Information book, we don't need that. Your main power cable. And this should be all our modular cables to go in the board. Now, oh no, they're in there, I was going to say, because I'm sure they were meant to be braided cables. So I'm looking at either going to cablemod.com and ordering some new cables for this in the purple, silver and black theme like I was saying, or I think I might just even get online and buy myself some cable, what do you call it, what do you call that stuff, 80? Bloody
Covered sheet.
Yeah, I can't think of what it's called now.
A braided? Wow.
With a braided cable cover, so I might get myself some purple and stuff, and I might even do my own cable mods to these. So yeah, they do come braided. Just 4 screws on the back here. Power supply installed. Righto, so we've got the radiator installed with the fans. Now we need to get the heat sink of the pump onto the CPU. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab a bit of paper towel, rubbing alcohol, a bit of rubbing alcohol and paper towel. So squirt a little bit onto this, not too much, just a little bit. This camera up here where it's meant to be. For some reason it's seeping down on me. So I'm just going to give that CPU a nice little wipe. Just lightly. Just to make sure it's nice and clean. Yep. Dry bit of the paper towel. Just to make sure any of the fingerprints when we'll install it or anything like that, when we're touching it, didn't put anything onto it. Sorry, that camera seeped down again on me. Give it a little bit of a wipe. Shall we dry it after we've done that? Righto, so now we're going to grab the pump. We'll take off our little cover off it and put the lid on this rubbing alcohol before we spill it. So we'll take off this cover. So it's got a nice little application of Thermaltake on there already. So it goes on here like so. And then we get this little cover. And it just clips on here by the looks. This just holds all this in place for us. Right. Okay. I think we got it sorted now. Clip all them on there like so. Then this doesn't come off. Like so. And like if I can get that last one to clip in there. Right, just here. So there we go, they're clipped in. Right, it's not going anywhere now. Right. And then this just goes up underneath like so. Up underneath like so. Up over the top like so. And then that just goes in there. Alright, I'm doing that up with my thumb. Cable's out of the way. It's a big screwdriver. It's in. That's about as tight as that will go. And I think that is perfect. Sweet. That is as tight as that will go. And there is the water cooler installed. Nice. It's a shame that hose was on this side and that hose was on that side. That's a bit of a junky setup there, but anyway. Righto, so that's our CPU cooler installed. So at this stage I've just rerouted these wires on the top here of the case. They were coming down up under there through in the bottom. Look quite messy, so I've just rerouted them across the top. Alright guys, so down in the motherboard box I actually found the standoffs for the M.2 drive, so we're going to take it back out and we'll put these proper standoffs in there, and so it's just not sitting there free floating like it is currently. There we go. Beautiful. Fits much better. Much more happy with that. It's not going to flop around like it was before. So Alright, that's in. I've also pulled out my 1 terabyte Samsung Evo. Oh, if I can get it in the camera. Sorry guys. So this is my 1 terabyte Samsung Evo. It's got a few little marks on it to come out of my old PC. It's a 1 terabyte drive. It's a couple of years old now, but I'm also going to throw it in here. So it's going to have the 1 terabyte M.2 drive. It's got a 3 terabyte Seagate hard drive, mechanical hard drive on the back. Plus it's going to have this SSD. So I reckon we're just going to sit it down here somewhere. Something like that, I reckon. For our graphics card, we're going to vertical mount it. So this needs to be fitted in here like so. These back plates will come out. I don't know if I need to take out the whole plate or not. I think I'll just take off these 2 little side ones, I think. But we'll get some screws for this. Which are more likely sitting in here. Yes. So we need, what do we need for this? 1, 2, 3 screws. So 3 screws, there's your bracket. We're going to use the PCIe 3.0 X16 reinforced cable extension. So it's a 200mm cable. It's going to come out of the PCI Express slot back up and under to here for a graphics card to slot into. The graphics card will slot up into it there. So it's also this is also made by Thermaltake. It doesn't come with the case. You have to purchase this separately. All the bits and pieces we've used throughout the build, I will leave a link in the description down below, so you can check out all the bits and pieces that we've used and where I've purchased them from. Bit of a structure thing, don't really need that. Let's throw that away over there. Right. So this piece, so looking at it. So you've got 2 ends. This bit with the blue bit's going to plug straight in. I'll let that focus. Plug straight in onto the motherboard, into the slot. So then you have this bit left up on the top here for your graphics card to clip into. So you want to make sure you have it facing the right way. I'm pretty sure it sits that way. And that will go back around up into the board. Take this little cover off. We'll insert it up the back here. Make sure the thing's pushed back. Put it in and you should hear a click. There it goes, click. So then we'll tuck it back up and under, like so. Back up and under, and then you attach this to here. Need a couple of screws for that. We'll grab 2 screws out of our bag right here. I've got 2 sitting right here ready to go. We can get on them. Get it started, I won't put it all the way in yet until we get both of these in place. So you're just dipping it up, you don't need to overdo it, just firm. You don't want it to rattle loose, but you don't want to overdo it either and crack the board on the PCIe extension. So it's just a little chip board there. You don't want to be cracking that out. Make sure your prongs are down, ready for the GPU to be inserted. The card we're using is the MSI Gaming X Trio. It's an RTX 2080 Ti graphics card. Should be plenty of punch for what we want to do with our streaming and gaming. So we'll get him out of the box here and have a bit of a look. So it comes with this little envelope. And just some paperwork, some warranty stuff, installation guide, and these little bar coasters. I may have already went through this in the start of the video. I can't remember if we did or not. Oh, thank you thing. So in here, okay, so we've got a little adapter cable for a power. We've also got a sag bracket. So these GPUs tend to sag a fair bit because the GPUs with their heat sinks are getting thicker and bigger GPUs, and the weight of them sitting on the board, they tend to sag down. So we probably won't use this because this actually gets set up for that back piece. I don't think we can actually use it for this vertical mount. I will look into it and see if we can. If we can use it, we will. I just really can't see us being able to use that unless I pick up extra holes in maybe the bottom of the case there. But yeah, it's normally made to go back up in there, so we'll see how that goes. So nothing in that. I don't know, here she is here. Here's our card. Just peel this off. Just take off all the little sticky bits over the fans. Tricky to get because the fan wants to wobble around. How do I set it down here? Hold the fan still. There it goes. Well, they're pretty shiny. Pain in the butt to get off there. Oh, that one wasn't too bad. That's just for a SLI link, which we won't be doing, not at this stage anyway. So there you have it. Nice looking card. We'll take off the little protector cover over the PCIe strip. So if we were to insert it that way, we'd have this nice looking backplate, which MSI did go through a lot of trouble with making this backplate on it. It's very nice looking. So, RGB lighting. I don't think the badge there lights up, but I think it lights up in and around these edges. I could be wrong, it may not light up actually. But we're going to need, okay, we need two 8-pin ones and a 6-pin. So we may need to use that other cable as well. So, alright, so we're going to sit this in here this way. Sit that there for a second. We need to take out these. Maybe we just take this whole thing off. Not sure how this exactly works, but sit this up into here. There, and then clip it in. So, I think they clipped in. sure if that's right down or not. I think it is. Righto, so we want to get a screw in there if we can. Oh, they were a bit of a pain in the butt to get them in, but yeah, I've got them in the end. God, I'm so excited to have a bloody beautiful card like this. Very excited. It's going to make a big difference to my gaming. Yeah. Let's go back on here too. Yes, I can. So it just goes back up there. So it covers everything back over. Nice. Very nice. So yeah, that's looking great. Look at that. I'll just step back. Hello. That is looking like a beast. Very excited. Alright, so now we need to get two 8 pins and a 4 pin power cable. So where have we got? Very nice. I'm very happy with that, the way that looks. Cables look pretty good. A little bit of a mess down here. Good to put maybe a half power shroud cover in. I've got a cover there for the power shroud, so I might be able to modify it to put half of it in there just to black them out. Other than that, I think it looks pretty damn good. Right, let's see if it posts. So hit the power button here. Wherever the power button is, that one right there. So everything's lit up. The back fan's not spinning. This one. Water going through the pump. Got no LED lights. So there may be something I've done there. Front fan's not spinning. So I'm thinking that needs to be plugged in the SATA cable. But we don't have a post. Right, it could be because I might be on the wrong channel here. Let me just change this. No, we're on HDMI 1. There we go. Oh, we do have a post. Boom. There we go. So it's post. Just had to restart a couple of times. But we don't have our RGB lighting working at the moment. So there must be just a couple of plugs I need to change around on the back. Other than that, we'll show you the back of the cable management. So that's our cable management. It's not the greatest looking. Pretty shitty. Yeah, I need to plug in the SATA cable on the back here, which was sitting here. This one. Plug that in. Oh, now everything's hooked up. We'll just put back on our panels. So this one goes to the back on the top here. Line it all up. A little bit of a push down. Plastic on both sides of these too, so we need to peel all that off. As we go, we'll do that.
Also, guys, I forgot to mention earlier that the plain black nuts that hold the tempered glass side panels and front and top panels on come plain black. I've taken the time to sand them back lightly, and I gave them a coat of couple of coats of purple paint to go with the colour, the purple colour theme that I wish to go with later on down the track. So when I do the cable management tray, when I clean that up, I'm going to paint it purple. I thought about doing the actual plastic top and front panels purple, and maybe pull off the heat shrouds off the motherboard and spray paint them and put them back on, but that'll be all done in a later date down the track.
So now, sure, let me just peel this other side off. Beautiful. Oh, snug as a bug. And then putting in these little nuts into the top that I painted. So like I said, I was going to do with colour scheme through purple. There's a few other bits and pieces inside that I may paint purple at a later date. Just wasn't 100% sure on what I wanted to do when I got it. So just make sure all the magnetic dust filters sit in properly underneath. So I put it in. So it's sitting up in places. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, this panel actually. There we go. Alright. Now this one goes this way. Sit in there. Bit of a squeeze. There we go. Alright. Beautiful. Rub up here where fingers have been touching it through the edge of the plastic. See on this end. Slot on there like so. It's just started, so it doesn't bloody fall out on me. Pretty sure that's on the other side, yep. All this horrible looking cable management in here. Like I said, I'm not in no big panic about it. Here's what it is. And the door will shut fine, so these. Like that. looking nice. Looking real nice. Yes. Get rid of this. Really nice. Okay. Oh, that is so bloody heavy. Put all that glass on.
Righto guys, well that brings us to the end of this video. Just giving it a bit of a wipe over. Give you a quick little look around the case now, all finished. But yeah, I'll leave you with a little video of it all up and running, set up with me monitors and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later.